Boozed and Bothered on occasion may contain content that readers and listeners find offensive or distasteful. The views and opinions expressed on this podcast or on the articles on the website are solely those of the individual authors, speakers, and or guests, and do not necessarily reflect the views of Boozed and Bothered as a whole or the views of any of Boozed and Bothered's affiliate or parent companies and organizations. Enjoy the show.
France has banned guns.
They haven't hit a single target. All they've hit is children.
Now they're rolling down the street with a fucking Panzer.
You wouldn't just jump in and get all up in it?
And all of a sudden, you both take like 3 steps back and fucking look at me like I'm a weirdo.
Ice-T was coming to pick him up.
18th century relic, my fat fucking ass.
They're locking up the
Can we
detergent.
not take a turn as conspiracy town, please?
I feel like there should not be 1,000 people on the freeway right
Why the fuck not?
Knowledge could be anything. A nuts and
Do you think police brutality is an issue?
Oh wait, we're putting tinfoil on.
That's coming in through the bum.
now. I'm straight white male.
Derp, derp, derpy, derp, derp.
I'm not gonna get boozed and bothered about it.
Cheers to that.
Avicii. Did you hear about that, Rob?
No.
You know the musician, right?
Oh, yes, the DJ.
Yeah, he died.
Yeah, he did. Yeah, sorry, I had to put that together. Avicii, yes.
It was
the DJ.
It was ruled a suicide.
Yeah, he cut himself. It's really sad.
I didn't know that. I didn't know the specifics.
That was
Yeah.
just released. His family, I think initially they didn't want it. I don't think they wanted that out.
They didn't want it known.
Yeah, they were hesitant and not hesitant. Hesitant? I
Yeah.
don't know. Whatever. Anyways, he even released that it was a suicide, but they went that far, and then, I guess from there it's only so long until the details come out. But
Right.
yeah.
That's crazy.
It is pretty crazy. I didn't know of him as far as like his music or anything like that, but when that happened, I was kind of like, whoa, all right, that's
Yeah, I don't listen to
Yeah.
a lot of EDM.
yeah, but it's weird. That's the only time I really hear about it.
When
Like-
suicides happen?
Like no, not even suicide, not that specific. Because I didn't even know it was a suicide. Just like when someone passes away in EDM, that's when I really hear about it. Like when something, I don't really hear about it when everything's going fine.
Right.
I mean, I think most people just kind of heard of Avicii when he had like top 40 or like pop collaborations.
Yeah, he did that song with Aloe Black.
Oh,
The I Need a Dollar.
Mm-hmm.
oh,
Have you heard?
I've never heard that song.
Oh, you never heard that song? Yeah.
No.
That was top 40 for a while. And then yeah, when did they announce that?
That he cut himself?
Then yeah, it was a suicide.
Like yesterday or the day before.
Wow.
But
Okay.
they definitely waited on that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Huh.
I mean, it's not something you miss. I'm sure they knew immediately, but
Mhm.
I would assume that would be an obvious thing when they found him. But I don't think the family wanted it released.
Right.
I mean, that's tough. That's
Yeah. There's been a lot of suicides in music this last couple of years, yeah.
yeah.
Well, I think a lot of people just look at the music industry and the entertainment industry as a whole as kind of creepy. And I think that the past year or two, I don't think that sexual, like the Harvey Weinsteins and, the casting couch thing for acting and Hollywood, I think that kind of permeates the perspective of the entire music industry. And I think that people kind of always assumed that was the way it was.
Mm-hmm.
And I think people just, I don't know. I think I've always kind of looked at musicians and Hollywood as being a little weird.
A little, yeah. No, that makes sense.
Yeah, I can agree. It's the whole concept behind it is I guess we don't really see two-dimensionally. We see that we don't see everything that goes on and the effects of Hollywood. We see like the at the end the effects, but we don't see how someone's living throughout that.
Right.
Yeah.
Very different life. Yeah.
Yeah, and we really don't see like their interactions amongst themselves. I mean, behind closed doors, and that goes for all things in life, any industry and anything like that. But we definitely, I don't know. I've always assumed that there's way more below the surface of, like, just as a widespread like Hollywood or the entertainment industry as a whole. that they have like their own things that go on behind scenes that we never will ever know about.
I would have to agree. I think I also think that there's a reason why. I think that because it would not make it as commercial as it is. It would tarnish the brand of being rich and famous.
Well, yeah, if everyone's like doped out on Prozac just to like get through like a set, like that's not exactly how you want to go to a concert, you know?
Yeah, that would be very that would. Ugh. You wouldn't enjoy it, or it would be hard for you to enjoy.
Well, yeah, it's not a very cute like branding. You're right. It's just not a cute branding scheme.
But the weird thing is, how did rock and roll, like, you know, old school rock and roll, get that effect, but not so deep where they made it in a weird way a part of it, like, you know, the old.
Oh, because I think they just admitted it. I think they're just like, yeah, bitches and coke. No, we do bitches and coke in Branson, Missouri, and this is just the way it is. I don't care.
I know, but it's so outrageous to think that that's literally been. It's not something that's happened the last 10 years. Like as soon as I think of drugs and musicians, I think of Jimi Hendrix. I'm like, holy crap, that was the 70s. Like,
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
you know?
you've got like the Rolling Stone. Like I think everybody was like that though.
True.
I mean,
I guess maybe it is the kind of the cross of we're becoming so, you know, so immediate with information that we're there, you know.
Yeah.
Speaking of immediate information, I and this is kind of old news, maybe a day or two old, but I've been listening to a couple podcasts today. Did you hear about Netanyahu revealing that Iran has not been adhering to the Iran nuclear deal?
You know, I saw like a snippet of that a little bit, but that was on the Drudge Report, so I was just my first instinct is just to be like, old Uncle Ben over here yelling about stuff at the UN again with his, you know, goddamn terrorist thermometer that he's drawn up. You know, like what? You know, he'll do anything to be angry. It's fine.
I heard snippets of that, but they've been talking about that for like a while, kind of. But I'm not that well versed in it, but I'm versed enough to know that's a very complicated, multi-factored issue there.
Yeah, there's a lot of opinions about it because, you know, I mean, it was signed under Obama, and you know, they said they wouldn't pursue nuclear, military nuclear. They wouldn't take on military nuclear pursuits, and so a lot of people are saying that who are learning about this are saying that it's the same thing's going to happen in North Korea, that they're just going to say that and they're not going to.
You know, I don't want to jump too far into North Korea because I know we're going to be talking about it later, but I don't think so. I think with North Korea, like the opportunity for them to get McDonald's and Taco Bell in Pyongyang, I think is far more appealing than having, you know, the Republican Guard from Tehran as like their best friend. I personally prefer Big Macs to the Republican Guard. So, and I think, you know, who cares? You know what? Let the Iranians get bombs. Okay? Let them get the bomb. Let them do it. I don't care.
We're going to jump into that a little later.
I don't care.
No, that's
because that is jumping ahead a little. So before we get a little crazy here, because John, you're already saucy. I don't know how much champagne you've had, but
well, I was waiting for you to make this work. You're the one who's supposed to know how to work all this shit. So I was just over here drinking Shandong, and I was like, oh, you know, maybe a little bit more. The grape. What did I make? Grapefruit.
Oh,
whatever.
I don't know why I thought you were gonna say grapes of wrath. I don't know why I thought you were drinking grapes of wrath. I'm like, what is?
I have never heard that, but that sounds like what I'm drinking right now. But I'm definitely half a bottle of champagne in, and at least one grapefruit down. So,
outstanding.
by the way, I'm drinking Shandong since we talk about
Yeah.
our alcohol this week.
I'm drinking a Lagunitas Little Something Something. It's been my go-to lately.
Yeah, you're being really boring with your beer. There's a stout in there that I expect you to open later.
I'll open it. You calm down. Rob, are you drinking tonight?
I think I'll pour some tequila. I was
yes.
trying to think what's next or what's in the fridge, and it's probably rosé. But that's no, not like that. Not like I got rosé on deck all the time. No,
First of all, everyone supports that concept.
I don't have on-demand rosé.
You can just say you do. Cool. I would absolutely respect that. Where is Shauna? Is she still in San Diego? Shauna would respect that.
Yeah, she'd have rosé on deck for sure. Nobody's mad about rosé, Rob. It's classy. It's sexy. It
actually is. It's more sexy than it is. I feel for like taste. Like I feel like you used to say rosé, and it kind of has this. I don't know this
panty dropper.
Yeah, I don't know.
We can go with that.
Even saying it, I feel like I should like it. That's yeah.
Yeah.
Hold on, I need to try and masculinize my voice and see if it has the same effect. There's rosé in the fridge.
See?
Oh, bravo! That was really good.
Wait, did both your panties fall off? I don't know. I need to practice that. See if it works for my people.
Yeah, I was kind of like, oh, what are you into? Like, you know. Like,
ooh.
Like, what you getting into? Like, whenever you hear someone say rosé, he's like, what are you getting into? Like,
what are we doing tonight? What are we doing? You want to go to the club? You want to get some late night eats? I don't know.
I'm about to eat this burger and then pour some rosé. Oh, okay.
See, it goes with everything.
It does go with everything. It's delightful. I'm a fan.
It's like the adult. It's like the adult Fanta.
The adult Fanta.
Yeah.
Can you have rosé for breakfast?
Well, first of all, that's the only time you're supposed to drink it.
There's a time to drink rosé?
Yeah, it goes great with pancakes.
Oh. I am not that sophisticated. I thought
don't have
rosé
to be. First of all, that's not how you learn that. That's not how you learn that fact. But
you got to be a little bit trashy to figure that one out. Is that what you're trying to say?
It's not trashy. You just have to. It just has to be the first thing in your fridge.
Oh, the first thing in your fridge is rosé. Man, that's just
the way it has to be. There's that, and then behind that is the maple syrup. Yeah. So you make pancakes.
Rob, something you got to know about Johnny is he doesn't cook. So the first thing you're going to find in his fridge is usually alcohol.
Yeah, first of all, how could you attack me like that, Sean?
I'm just telling facts, bro.
I have been having groceries delivered to my house because I'm.
Oh my God, you discovered So Rob,
yeah,
Johnny has discovered the beauty of Amazon Prime Now.
Oh, in all its facets, yeah, it's.
Well, here's the thing. It's not that I didn't know about it. I just didn't know that you could get like food that way.
You can get whatever you want. It's yeah.
Yeah, because I always used it for.
We don't have fresh yet, unfortunately.
For alcohol, sex toys, and I just got a hairdryer. But they were like, "Hey, do you want to do some grocery shopping after all of that?" And I was like, "You can do that." So tomorrow at 10 a.m., I've got some avocados and salad being delivered.
Wow.
Yeah, I'm a very healthy person these days. It's been a week, but it's working out very well.
It's been a week. I like how honest you are.
Listen, my father listens to this. He's going to be like, he's going to call me. He's going to be like, take a picture of your fridge and send it to me right now. And he's going to be like, all right, so 2/3 of it is beer. There's like a bottle of wine in there. And wow, you actually have some produce. That's the first time in 7.5 years that you've had anything in there.
Oh my gosh.
I don't like to keep food in my fridge. It makes me nervous.
No, that's why you keep Postmates on your phone.
Hold on. What?
Yes.
Rob!
Hold on. What?
The only thing that has kept me alive is the fact that La Garnacha is 2 blocks away and that Postmates is like maybe half an hour wait.
Oh my gosh.
You won't even walk to the Mexican joint.
I sure as hell will not.
Oh my gosh.
Oh man. Lovable hermit. Okay.
Listen, I've used my oven before. Okay, I have used that 4 times.
Was it to reheat leftovers from a restaurant?
One time I made a pizza. One time I made chicken. Another time, I don't remember. I know that there was another time, and then there's like 2 times I don't remember what I made.
Okay.
But
You gotta start renting out your kitchen or something. You gotta get some uses of that.
every time they come and do like inspections for maintenance or whatever, I'm always like, you can take this away. I don't need it. And if you want to replace it with a dishwasher or like, I don't know, a wine rack, like that would be totally fine.
Oh my gosh.
Oh
I
man.
think I'm gonna install like a mounted iPad instead of your fridge, where you just.
It would
like,
be the
that's-
most boring live stream. Oh, in front of my fridge. No, that's fine.
What? What you?
Like that's where your brain goes first. That's fascinating. It's fascinating to me. Okay, well,
I just caught up to that. Sorry.
I want to welcome everyone to episode 21 of Boozed and Bothered. This is the Boozed and Bothered podcast. My name is Sean, aka Daddy. I am your co-host and producer.
Oh. Sorry, I was drinking. My name is Jonathan, and I'm your host, and I'm the boozy one, and we're doing this.
And we have another special guest today joining us from Seattle.
I thought you were going to say
Why did
Kuwait.
you-
I was like, what?
Someone was messaging me on Facebook about Korea, and I almost said Rob is from Korea.
I mean, I can. That'd be kind of cool. All right.
The South one, probably.
I could be from anywhere, really. I mean, we're.
He's from New Korea.
New Korea. Is that what we're going to call it now?
I mean,
No.
We've got a friend of the show, a very special guest, and a good friend of mine. Rob, say hi.
Hello.
Rob is joining us from Seattle, Washington. Just saw you a couple days ago, hanging out up there. That was a lot of fun. And we did all the things. I'm especially eating a lot of really good ice cream. Anyone who listens in Seattle, if you haven't been to Salt and Straw, you're fucking slacking.
You need to be there already.
There are people who listen in Seattle.
There are. Y'all need to go to Salt and Straw. For our Seattle listeners, I love you, and you need to go to Salt and Straw because
It's amazing.
it's absolutely amazing. It's the bomb. Rob, what flavors did you get?
I got the Elenos yogurt, and matcha tea blend, or not blend. I'm not. It's not tea, but like
Matcha's
combination.
tea. Matcha's tea.
Matcha's tea. Didn't you get? I thought you got the Beechers, didn't you?
Oh yeah, yes. No, I got the. So I got a pint to go home to, because the girlfriend. The almond brittle and salted ganache, and that was, yeah, they were both really good. I'm still thinking about them. I'm definitely going back.
I'm
really good.
I'm definitely jealous. So I'm just gonna
Yeah,
throw that out there.
I couldn't live super close to that place. It
No.
would be,
You're close
bad
enough.
news.
You're closer than me.
yeah,
I'd be
and I'm
honest.
lactose, so that just doesn't work out.
So am I.
It's the price you pay.
You know what? I can't give up ice cream. It doesn't matter. I just can't.
I think that's the line. I talked to other people who are lactose intolerant, and they were like, "I'm not giving up ice cream."
No,
That's
absolutely not.
nope.
I'm with you. I'm absolutely
hap-
with you.
I don't know anything about this struggle. What's happening?
Our tummies do weird things when we eat things that have milk or drink things that have milk. But you're
Yep.
Italian, so you wouldn't know that.
Are Italians just like famous milk drinkers? Like, what
They
does that
eat
mean?
a lot of cheese, bro.
Yeah, I was literally like, "What does that mean?"
Do Italians
What
eat
does
more
that
cheese
mean?
than anybody else? I don't think that's true.
Oh, Parmesan, mozzarella.
First of all, those are like American Italian. And yes, I do eat those.
I'm just saying.
I was just sad the other day because I was like, man, I need to give up lattes.
Why?
Too fatty.
Oh.
Oh, I mean, yeah, maybe lattes are. I don't know.
Well, listen, now that I've discovered grocery shopping, I am trying to like only buy healthy things, and I do only buy like fruits and vegetables and things like
Just
that.
replace it with avocado smoothies. Just do that, like.
Ooh, those are really good.
Those are really good.
Those are really good.
Or try to make like an avocado latte.
I think my replacement's
good.
I think my replacement's just gonna be iced coffee. just iced coffee, black with nothing in it.
No.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, okay.
It's been turning me into a real bitch, though. I can tell you, they have been hating me at work.
That's a lot of coffee. That is.
Is it the coffee that's turning you into the bitch, or the lack of fatty?
It's the lack of fat. Okay. I was sitting there happily eating my avocado, and someone was like, "Oh, did you bring me one?" And I had to walk away because I cussed first, and then I was like, "No, why would I bring you an avocado?"
That sounds par for the course for you, being someone who used to work with you. That sounds par for the course.
Listen, I'm not trying to be that person anymore, Sean. I'm trying to grocery shop and eat healthy.
And be nice? I don't know about the be nice thing.
And drink iced coffee. I have always been a very warm and loving person.
Okay, that was... Okay. I heard that from over here. That was...
We're gonna dive right in here. As I've been trying to do.
Will you dive right the fuck away?
I will dive right the fuck away. Big things in the world this week, or I don't know, maybe it's been more than a week. Mr. Kanye West has returned to Twitter with a very interesting mindset, if you will. Making friends with in not so low places, or low, depending on how you're looking at that.
It depends on if you're asking Republican Twitter or Black Twitter, because Black Twitter is very mad about everything that he has to say right now, but Republican Twitter is apparently like, wow, okay.
Black Twitter has been releasing the most hilarious memes about it.
Yeah, Black Twitter is winning the internet right now.
They have been crushing it. I've been dying about it. So for those of you who may not be caught up, Kanye West has been tweeting interesting things and getting into Twitter conversations with Donald Trump, to the point where he's even received a MAGA hat with Donald's signature on it, and was also on TMZ. It was live, I believe, and
it sure as hell was.
Said some things.
Yep.
Particularly mentioning 400 years of slavery for the black people and saying, and I quote, because I would not say this.
I think up to that point, Sean, they were Africans. They weren't African Americans because Americans didn't want them
at the time. Right. And Kanye said, that sounds like a choice when talking about 400 years of slavery.
That's a very abstract answer. That's
is that I like your word choice there.
Because I have no other way to put it. I have no. I'm out. I don't know.
So Rob, I gotta, and you had mentioned this briefly. You and I are big hip hop heads. I know that, and we talk about rap a lot. And I know in the years, you and I have both been fans of Kanye West, at least his music. He's a bit of a crazy. Has always no.
He did design homeless clothing to sell.
See, it's.
Tell me.
It's tough, all right? Because all right. Everyone knows when Kanye first came out, and you got this kind of new perspective. You got kind of using kind of soul and making music where you're basically putting it all out there and you're telling the truth and you're trying to be true to at least what you're saying. Mm-hmm. And now I feel like it is like now I feel like I really can't partake in it anymore because it's almost like I don't know. It's like a sensationalism machine. Like it's getting to that point where I'm like, I can't even agree with the music. Like like if you put this into your music, I think like he released the track recently.
Yeah,
Like,
he did. I have not listened to that yet.
It's exactly what he's been saying.
Right. He
for the
also
last
released
week.
one with T.I.
Yeah.
going back and forth about
I'm
that.
still mad at T.I. for going and disrespecting everybody by telling them what his real lyrics were like 3 months ago.
Oh,
I'm still mad. So I don't think we need to bring up T.I. right now.
okay. Well, anyway.
I know it's just been a really tough, not a really tough time. It's just been a weird moment, and where you're like, okay, I think this dude needs help. I think we need to be there for him.
Do you think he's needed help for a while, or do you think he's needed help in this particular time right now?
I think he used music to help him with that, but I think now he's at this point where he can do whatever he wants, and he might not have people always in his corner. So I'm trying to look at it like, hey, maybe we should help this guy, but also I'm just like, you can't be making those statements and not really understanding the impact and the effect of your words.
Which statements in particular? I know the 400 years of slavery being a choice is definitely going to be one that strikes home for a lot of people. Are there any other ones in particular that are on your mind?
I mean, there's a ton because he started doing like his philosophy book kind of thing on Twitter.
Yeah.
And so there's been kind of mishmash things that have been going back and forth, and he has like a reputation for doing this and saying things that are just like, what? But at the same time, it's like, I don't know. It's like, this is the dude that made crack music. Like, he made crack music track, and that track was like truth. And now he's saying slavery was a choice. And it's like, all right, those are words. But what do you mean? Like, that's a statement. But what is that? What's the fact behind that? Why do you feel this way?
See, and I wish he would have. I think, like watching that was a really uncomfortable interview to watch, but
Yes.
like it was well, one it was all over the place, but two, it was kind of one of those moments where I wish that somebody would have asked him to explain that a little bit.
Yes.
Not only because I think that statement is just, I think you're right. And that statement is just kind of like
Abstract.
It is abstract, but it's also like, how did you get to that point? Because there's kind of like a hook in there where it's like, okay, well, how did you get to this conclusion that that at some point over 400 years, this sort of became like either a choice to participate or there just wasn't enough resistance against slavery, which is not true because we know for a fact that there was consistent resistance.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
I don't know. It's just like, what led you to this? Because it's kind of one of those statements that just like it sits there and lingers, but there's no path. Like you can't see the path that he got to it, and you can't see where he wants to go from it.
Like where he's been in his head.
Yeah,
yes.
he's just announcing this spot, and there's no like trail to or from, and it's like a weird thing where I wish that instead of
you're just kind of discovering someone in the woods. You don't know where they came from.
I think it was clear that everybody in the TMZ office was a little taken aback by that, so there was no real opportunity to follow it up. But
yeah, I saw some heads in the back, in the newsroom kind of turned back and looked directly at him like, did he just hold up?
It was a very awkward interview.
And he got called out because it was live. He got called out by a TMZ staffer or employee.
Which is fine, and that I thought that interaction was actually probably the healthiest part of that interview. Because somebody was actually asking him to explain himself or he didn't really ask him to explain himself. He just said, I think it sounded like it was the first person in like a long time that's been like, you need to take a minute and really think about what you just said.
Yeah, I don't think a lot of people tell Kanye.
I don't think I don't think he has a lot of people around him that are like, but at the same time, I do not like playing devil's advocate. But if there is a point that he was trying to make, I wish he would have been pushed to explain that.
Well, it was also, I mean, what we're getting of this interview, and this happens a lot in the media. What we get of this interview, right?
Well, we get the snippet.
We're getting snippets. We're getting sound clips. So I don't know if he said anything after that. If he did, I would love to have. I mean, if I can be the guy, but I won't be. But I would love to have someone urge TMZ to release the entire uncut interview because I want to hear. Like, I want to know how he got there.
Well, he also did. It was like an hour and 45-minute like interview with Charlemagne the God.
Yeah,
and
love that show.
I've been trying to find the time in my existence to like watch this interview, especially now. And I think it came out like this week or something like that.
Oh, it was that recent.
Yeah, it's really like it's been the past like at least week.
Well, I know what I'm doing.
Right, and so like my days off like once I have like I'm clear of work or whatever, like I am definitely watching this interview because it's supposed to be a very open and very like unguarded interview with just him. And Charlemagne, from like clips that I've seen, asks him very specific questions about, you know, how he's doing, what about his mental breakdown, like what was that, a year ago?
Yeah.
How he's dealing with that.
Oh, the one that happened here?
How he's dealing with that, where he is with music, where he is with his career, and where he is with himself, like emotionally, and especially the Donald Trump stuff. I think is part of it. I think it's very recent, but it is like an hour and 45 minutes, almost unedited, and I want to watch it because you can't just leave me with 400 years as a choice. And then some dude yelling at you in the background, and you like, I'm sorry, my words hurt you, give me a hug. And then the screen goes black. I'm just like, wait a minute. Kanye knows.
Those are some strong words.
You get like, there was a whole lot of emotion going on right there, and I'm still wrapping my head around the first bit, but can you please? Like, I just wish that somebody would have given him a minute to like think about that and maybe like either backtread in the moment or explain it. I'm at.
Yeah, and I'm actually really interested. I'm excited to see the Charlemagne interview because, in my experience, and I'm not like a devout follower of his show. Like, I don't listen to it like a lot. I do catch it on occasion, but in Charlemagne's interviews, even in his more controversial ones, he's always been relatively open and fair from what I've seen, and just kind of allowed people, even the craziest people, to just have the floor. And I want to know, like...
Well, I think that's his thing, is that, you know, you can explain yourself. If you can.
I think that's what we should be doing. I think we should have more conversation. I think we should have, like, if someone's going to say something like that, I don't think we should just be like, oh, shut up. I think we should be like, okay, explain. Like, really.
Yeah.
Like, explain and let's talk about this.
Yeah. Because I want, like, you don't just one day wake up and you're like, yeah, that was a choice.
Right. Like, there's a path, and there are people that you're talking to that are telling you.
Yeah. I would agree.
That, like, at some point, like, every African that was brought over just like gave up, and they were like, "This is life." And I'm like, I don't think that's how it happened.
No, I don't think that's how it's happened in multiple cases where slavery has happened.
I think across the globe, throughout all of written history, and maybe even beyond, we have learned that human beings do not respond well to oppression.
Yeah.
No, but I don't think they fully accept it. I don't think that, because that would.
Right. That's what I mean. Yeah.
You're accepting not to be human. That's basically what, like I don't know. I find that very troubling. It's just like for all the people to say that.
And I mean, and I'll be honest, like leading up to this, I was kind of like, okay, because I honestly don't mind like the Kanye Donald Trump thing. I think that Kanye can be a fan of Donald Trump as a person without being a fan of his presidency. If that makes any sense,
I mean,
because
a lot of,
and even he said, I don't think Kanye knows what Donald Trump has done.
well, yeah, because like a lot of
wise.
expanding on that, like a lot of people on the right are attaching themselves to Kanye West now. But if you track him, even just within the last week on Twitter, Kanye West is not a conservative.
No, he's not a conservative. But
No.
yeah, listen, the GOP will stick itself to anything that will be able to sell its brand. Okay, red looks good on a lot of people.
We're talking about brands here. That's what we're really talking about.
Yeah.
They just want something to be. They're going to midterms, Sean. God bless it. All they want to do is just be able to have like one snippet to like air in like some Minnesota district to get someone elected.
Right.
That's all either party cares about. And the GOP just has that moment.
That's a little sad.
It is a little sad, but for the longest time, the Democrats had Katy Perry and her tits when she still had hair. But then she had to go and make fun of Britney Spears, and look at her now. I'm not going to let it go. I'm so mad at Katy Perry for that.
Britney is still your queen after all these years.
Don't go on a red carpet and make fun of Britney Spears' meltdown. Don't do it.
Yeah, that's true.
Because guess what? 2 weeks later, you're going to shave your head, and you're going to be judging American Idol and hitting on 19-year-old children. Okay?
Oh my God. I remember that. She kissed that dude.
Yeah, it was literally 2 months ago. I'm glad your memory is holding up.
She did. She just kissed him. And he was like, well, I was hoping to save it for someone special, but,
Yeah. It's proof of Jesus, Katy Perry. Should probably go to church. Stop talking about Britney.
Oh my Lord. Oh,
that's. I guess that from a broader standpoint, it's true. You shouldn't call someone that's having an open struggle, because you can have the same. They're human.
She was not far off. She was not far off the line.
Listen, and Twitter picked a fight too when they were comparing Emma Gonzalez from Florida to Britney Spears and her meltdown in their little memes.
Yeah,
I saw that and I was like, "You guys better pray. Whoever created this meme better pray." You saw Katie, okay? It can happen to you.
Oh man! So another thing that happened a couple days ago is the yearly White House Correspondents' Dinner.
I used to love this as a kid.
Did you? Rob, how do you feel about the White House Correspondents' Dinner? What are your opinions on it?
In general
the
or
event
recently?
as a whole, just in general.
I feel like it's a celebration of our news corp, and I feel like. That's exactly. It's like watching C-SPAN. It's exactly what that is. It
was on C-SPAN.
It's literal. It's literally what that is.
It was on C-SPAN until C-SPAN cut the cord. Okay, they were like, "Wait a minute."
Well, it's very. I mean, it's supposed to be a celebration of the press, and I think in recent years it's been quite interesting. Just general trust of the press the media has kind of shifted back and forth, and it's in a weird place right now. So a lot of people are into it. A lot of people are definitely not. I've heard more than enough anti-views as far as the White House Correspondents' Dinner go and how people feel about it. But this year was particularly interesting because the Daily Show's Michelle Wolf was asked to give what was pretty much long enough to be a keynote.
She was the keynote speaker.
Yeah.
And last year it was who? Seth Meyers?
Yeah. And she's...
Yeah.
Yeah. Number one...
They're about as funny as the other.
And she's more of a comedian than a journalist, and I think even she would admit that.
Well, who isn't?
Yeah, I think everyone that has been invited the last 5 or 10 years have been comedians.
Yeah.
But I don't know why people are expecting different though. Like they're expecting a comedian to show up and not make jokes.
Right. Did you watch it, Rob?
I watched a little bit of it. I
monologue?
haven't really. I've never watched a full correspondence dinner.
No,
to be
neither
honest
have
with you, I've never sat down and digested it all.
By myself.
I ain't trying. Yeah, you.
Yeah,
you,
me.
You, but I ain't trying.
I've always watched these.
Ain't nobody got
It's a very small population that does that.
It's like the amount of people who watch the draft. Okay, like I want to see people play football.
I think it'd be more specific than that. I think it's the people that go and watch the draft. I think
who haven't applied to be drafted. Correct. Like the people
and
who
aren't family connected draftees.
The people who just like they just can't.
The people with jerseys.
They just want so much of the sport that they're watching that they want to hear names called for a team. I don't even fucking. That shit's wild to me, man. I watched 10 minutes of the draft a couple years ago, and I was all, "Yo, what the fuck am I doing?"
I think it's cool for the first 5 picks. That's it.
Yeah. You want to see who goes overall, but yeah, top 5. That's fine. I get it, but ESPN won't shut the fuck up about it. It's how it goes. But what are you doing? That would be. That's you. That's you watching the White House Correspondents' Dinner.
Yeah, it's just me.
Yeah, that's you.
Me and Celine.
Yeah. I was about to say, I was like, that's a very recent recording.
Yeah.
My that was all me, by the way. No nodules here.
So, oh my God. Okay. So, Rob, you did you watch the Michelle Wolf monologue at all, or?
Yes.
So, what were you like? How did you like it? Did you laugh? What did you think?
I laughed. I thought it was funny. I thought she did a great job with the material she had, and I thought that she's a comedian and she make jokes.
She definitely made a lot of them.
I think if that, huh?
She definitely made a lot of them.
Yeah. I think if she wasn't there, we probably wouldn't be talking about it.
I mean,
To be honest.
Well, I mean, we talked about Seth Meyers last year.
Yeah, but I'm saying like if Seth Meyers, if Michelle Wolf, and I forgot the name of the guy that did it last
Wasn't
year.
Aziz Ansari there?
Aziz Ansari did Obama's last one.
Oh, okay, got it.
Yes. If they didn't do it, I don't think we would be talking about it as much as we do now. Like, if no comedians headlined or emceed the Correspondents' Dinner, I think everyone would be like, "Oh, the Correspondents' Dinner happened yesterday." Yeah.
Do you guys think the comedians are there for ratings?
Yeah, well,
Yes.
of course.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yes.
Yeah, Johnny, let's have you lead this one.
Let's do
I
it.
want you to go first here. I want to hear what you
Here's
got to say.
Here's the thing.
He's a fan, so
I
hear this.
was really in. I was with her for like 3 minutes, and there's a difference between a roast and the Correspondents' Dinner. Like if this was like the Trump roast 2.0 at Comedy Central, yes, absolutely, she would have hit it out of the park. It would have been solid. This is not necessarily that, and it's kind of a black tie occasion. And I think you can tell when you've done something wrong when the room has given you the notice that you've done something wrong. And she barely got any laughs for 15 minutes out of her 19 minutes. And I think it's one thing for her to like I think be a comedian and go in like on everybody in the administration and on Clinton. I mean, she definitely hit everybody. The thing is that I think she hit everybody at a level that was just kind of above what the night was supposed to be about. And it came off as being very fucked up. I think there was the point at which she completely lost the room. you can absolutely tell if you go back and watch it. It was the moment that she started her abortion joke run, and literally everyone was done after that. Everyone was completely out of it. They were over it. They did not want this. You've got. It's a good platform for her. She definitely she tripled her Twitter following. She increased her personality.
No publicity is bad publicity.
She definitely did everything. Everything that she did was great for her own career. She'll definitely be fine. But I think that I don't know how she was prepped for this. I don't know if she was, but this wasn't supposed to be a roast from Comedy Central. This was a different event.
Mm-hmm.
And she played that a little. She went too dirty with the jokes. Too dirty with the jokes.
You think so?
There's literally one hype man laughing in the back of the room for the last 10 minutes.
I do know. What I did notice was the crowd got real quiet when she was calling out the news organizations.
I mean, they always do that. They're a bunch of prissy bitches. But
she told CNN that they broke the news. Everyone was all, oh, she's going there.
But I think that's so needed though.
No, I'm
that's...
there. It's the jokes themselves were not funny. It was just here's the thing. If you're going after Trump, and this is the one thing that people they always fuck up on. If you're going after Trump, you cannot make him the good guy. And she absolutely made the Trump administration the good guy.
How do you think she did that?
Well, one, Trump wasn't there. I don't know why she even bothered.
Are you implying that he wasn't there to defend himself? Or?
No, he knew what this was going to be. I think he's media savvy enough to know that this is bullshit. That's why he didn't go last year. That's why he didn't go this year. And he's allowing it to become this huge clusterfuck. They're literally the only people who see the White House Correspondents' Dinner as a positive thing are people who don't like him and are they got to dig in on him. But that's really a shallow victory. Trump got to go to Michigan, hold a rally with thousands of supporters, and on camera get to tout his own political victories, while Michelle Wolf is over here talking about knocking out babies during an abortion and really getting them out. And when you put the two side by side, it's not a win for the Correspondents' Dinner. And in fact, they've gotten more backlash. The Correspondents' Dinner is a failure. Trump's a winner, and Michelle Wolf is a winner. But the dinner itself suffers, and this wasn't what the dinner itself was designed to be.
Rob, what do you think? What do you think about that?
The thing is, I don't think that you're wrong coming from a pure kind of fan perspective. If you've watched the Correspondents' Dinner for as long as it's probably been on and publicized, then you kind of have that attachment to it. That's what it sounds like. So I'm not saying that, hey, you're wrong, because I don't know enough to honestly be like, oh, it was like this and but what I will say is I think you are right as far as picking your battles and throwing your punches. I think that it can come off tasteless. But at the same time, it's really hard to gauge in this playing field. I feel like it's right now. I think people are just grabbing whatever and throwing it, and I think it's really hard to talk about class, talk about a level of integrity and all of that in this current climate.
See,
that's tough.
I would say that, except for Republicans have never been funnier. And it's been pissing me off since Trump was elected. And it happened on election night, Sean. And you know that I said this for a fucking fact. I did not know that Republicans knew how to be funny on the internet until Trump won the election. And they're trolling. Republicans have been trolling the internet for a year and a half. And it's what shocks me is that comedians, media personality, and even entire news organizations that lean center left or all the way to the left don't understand that what they just put up is going to have a losing message. and it's so shocking to me. It takes me aback every time, because you would think that at some point they would realize that maybe Michelle Wolf would be great for a different setting, but maybe what they need is for Jimmy Fallon to come in and prove that the left can be reasonable with humor in the middle and put that out. And no, we wouldn't be talking about it like we are, but
Is Jimmy Fallon the best choice? I mean, he generally stays out of.
but that's what I mean. They keep picking this fight. They keep going for the media humor or the comedy humor or some way to get a dig at Trump, and it's like the cheap shots only
Bolster him.
Yes, every time.
They make him human. You humanize him. You empathize with him.
Well, there's that too. I guess I don't think anybody really empathizes with Donald Trump.
Well, no, I'm not saying I
But
do. I'm not saying.
I think what they do is they make Trump, who already looks like a petty person, look less petty than attempts to make him look petty. Like the media constantly out petties him, even though he is like the queen petty bitch of like the campus. They're trying so hard, and it looks pathetic. And I'm tired of it.
That's the game right now. But that's the game now. Which I'm not saying it should be the game now, but I'm saying that's what we've kind of accepted.
Do you think, Rob, that because it's the game that they should play it?
No. I think we shouldn't play it, but at the same time, it's kind of hard to pause the NBA and say let's change the game. I think right now we're witnessing such a discourse at a level where it's entertainment, and it's someone has to press the button of, hey guys, this is becoming gross. We need to figure this out together. But I don't think we know where the button is, and once we find the button, who's going to push it?
Well, I mean, that's true. I mean, what did Hillary say today? Like these people are a fucking mess. Speaking of petty bitches, Hillary Clinton from the Hill today. Let me pull this up because I almost choked on my damn grapefruit.
Were you eating a whole grapefruit or
no? I
slice?
squeezed two out. I juiced them.
Oh, okay.
Former Democratic presidential nominee Hillary Clinton. I'm eating healthy these days. Hillary Clinton.
2 grapefruits? Damn.
Said, well, it's a whole bottle. Says identifying as a capitalist hurt her in the 2016 campaign. And I don't. Sean, you're going to have to help me with this. I can't.
What do you need from me?
I don't understand how somebody. I need somebody to explain her. Can she get better PR? She's worth millions. She can afford somebody better than Huma. Somebody needs to get in front of her and be like, maybe don't call yourself a capitalist.
See, that's the game, though, isn't it?
Well, she looks like the angry old lady on the neighborhood block that's just drunk all the time and raving about the time that she was a dancer. Like, can Huma get her? Like, she needs to be in a muumuu watching daytime soaps for a minute. Like, we need her. 2 weeks ago, she was talking about Flint. She hasn't been there since she lost the election. Today she's talking about being a capitalist, like she's some sort of like messaging. Why can't Democrats get better messengers?
But I don't think it's just democratic. I think it's all over. I think the fact that we're talking about getting messaging correct, we're basically talking about marketing. We're basically talking about branding. We're basically talking about building an identity for people to see clearer and associate with, which is not what I feel was this whole point of this social experiment.
Which social experiment?
The America, the social experiment that we're running.
Okay.
I feel like that's not what, especially in this time. I think we're at that time where we need huge initiatives to propel us into the 21st century even further. And I think right now is not the time we should be playing these games, playing semantics.
Well, Hillary's calling
got real
herself
shit
capitalist, so I'm
We
gonna.
don't we're dealing with some serious shit. In the next 30 years, we're going to be dealing with some catastrophic shit that we need to settle. We need to figure that shit out now.
What do you think that is, Rob? Like, when you say catastrophic shit, what are you talking about?
If we can't work together, certain things like water, air, money, survival in general is going to really
basic human needs.
Basic human needs. If we don't figure that out, we don't figure out how to talk and share, it's going to get horrible when things become finite.
Hold on,
I'm not saying like apocalypse. I'm not saying apocalypse. I'm not an extremist.
I don't have this. I don't have a backpack for this anymore. It was stolen from the car.
He's not saying you're gonna drink your pee, okay?
No, I'm not saying. I'm not saying it's
breather.
gonna turn into the road. I'm saying like.
Oh, I was like, I'm not into that.
No, I'm not a doomsday guy. What I'm saying is like we just have human things that we've never dealt with that are coming up that we have to deal with, and if we're seriously talking about who said what, we're gonna miss the bigger picture. Or we're going to have to solve it later in crunch time in the fourth quarter when we could be handling this out before that.
Well, I mean, I can agree with that. I feel like things have actually taken a step back into the more calm direction, though. I mean, with Korea, if we want to segue that into Korea...
Yeah, let's do that.
I think that's a huge breakthrough. I think that this time last year, people were genuinely afraid that we were going to be nuked on the West Coast.
Well,
I was going to be.
Lil Kim was running some tests, so.
Well, I was going to be fine with that. I was going to be fine with that if it was San Francisco.
You were or were not?
Oh, I was. That would have been fine.
I was actually scared for them, like hearing that like having that kind of almost Red Scare here. I was more scared for them.
North Korea?
Because, yeah, or Korea in general. I was scared.
Oh, because we would have wiped them the fuck out.
Yeah, like we're talking about populations here, and we're talking about being so centralized. Like we're spread out, and the time that it would take, it would not be a fair thing, and it would be a lot of lives lost for something as, I mean,
insignificant as San Francisco. I know, that's what I said. And
Korea's it's like talking about the Middle East now. It's really hard. It's something we know that there's an issue there, but it's not something where we could just go in and say, all right, guys, let's figure this out, because there's so much history behind it.
There is so much history, but this is also kind of where we're at. I think we need to take the moment and let it ride. I don't think that we should trust the North Koreans. I'm still apprehensive about that. I'm very excited that we're in a much better, a more positive place.
Right.
But
so it was reported in recent days when because Kim Jong-un has been talking about denuclearization and sort of coming off with this vibe of, we're voluntarily going to do this, when reports have been coming out from sources who, it's been a couple days, so they still need to be vetted, right? But that his nuclear testing plant collapsed on itself or became dysfunctional. So he's kind of using that.
It's been a few weeks of those reports. I think at this point we can safely assume. I don't think we know for sure. Somebody knows for sure. We don't know.
I think someone knows for sure, but I don't think it's public, and I don't think we will definitely really know until like a while from now.
That the nuclear testing site it's trashed. It's non-recoverable. They can't do anything with it, which means that their options are out, because economically North Korea is done. They cannot do anymore. They can't. They are not a self-sustaining economy. They are not. Once China, and a lot of this isn't us. A lot of this is us by de facto, or like second part.
Proxy.
But proxy. There you go. Thank you.
Yeah.
A lot of this is China going, come on, man. You don't want this. We don't want this. It's great for missile sales and for stock prices in like military companies. Yeah, weapons companies. But at the same time, like, none of those people are investing in your weaponry. So, why don't we put some Big Mac chains on your blocks and, get your people fed?
Yeah, I think I agree. I think if this recent news is absolutely true, I think that opens up discourse to actually go in as a humanitarian effort, because I think that's something where I'm like, wow, we know this now. It's like an open secret where things aren't so well in North Korea, and we need to get there and help them out. But there's always been this threshold where it's like, that's very, very dangerous and could be catastrophic at a point if things get that highly escalated. But I mean, now if that's true, then hey, we have options.
Yeah, and I think we should take them. I think that regardless of how we got here, I think it's important how we got here. I think it's important to understand how we got here. But if we can set all of the test site and the economic fallout and everything like that aside for a second and look forward, North Korea today released 3 Americans that they had been holding for years, which was a request from the Trump administration, from the Obama administration. This has been a consistent policy. Please release our human people. Which, we all giggle, but the last time they released an American prisoner, he came back with missing teeth and as a vegetable, and then he died 3 days later. So
yeah.
Let's not forget the fact that the North Koreans are kind of fucked up people.
Well, at least the regime.
The regime. Whatever. Oh, who cares? Everybody across the world compares us to our government, so, them too. Fuck them.
But we're also
fuck those starving, bark-eating motherfuckers.
What'd you say, Rob? We're also what?
I said we're also the most present, branded. We're like the Nike of the world for government. Like we're everywhere.
I'd rather us than someone else. But
okay.
If it comes down to it, I'd rather be us as Nike than
Reebok,
someone else.
That reminds me of, you just basically gave me that Gavin Belson feeling. That quote.
Oh God!
I don't want to live in a world where someone else is making it a better place other than us.
Well, the question is whether they're making it a better place.
Yeah. I have to ask. So I'm going to ask both of you. I'm going to ask both of you this, and I want to know.
Start with Rob. I'm pouring more.
Okay, that's fine. Drink your brute. Rob, do you think Trump had anything to do with this?
What, the de-escalation and the diplomatic kind of angle?
Yes. Because there's been a debate on the internet.
I think timing is...
What'd you say?
I think timing is everything.
Okay.
I think I would say immediately no, because he's not superhuman. I would say this is years and years of whatevers leading up to this, and then if the rumors are true, this is just pure luck. I think that no, and yeah, I think I would say no.
You would say no?
It's too fast.
Despite the fact that South Korea said that this was made possible because of him? The South Korean foreign minister said that.
I would say I would say that's great to say, but that's...
The South Korean president said that he deserves a Nobel Peace Prize for this.
I think that's very over exaggerated. I think
they're handing him out for bombing other countries, so we might as well get one for not.
I think that's a very Jimmy Carr, Ronald Reagan issue, where Jimmy Carr negotiates the whole thing in Germany, leaves office, Ronald Reagan comes in and finishes the negotiation, and then they give Ronald Reagan all the credit.
Do you think so?
Well, I think we would have to find out exactly what happened in North Korea, but I think...
Rob, do you think Barack Obama deserves any credit for this?
I think all presidents that had to converse with North Korea for a long time deserve the credit.
First of all, Barack Obama, George Bush, and Bill Clinton, and other George Bush can all eat absolute shit when it comes to North Korea. All 4 of those motherfuckers made this a very difficult and very dangerous situation.
No, because it's all right. I have to disagree there. I have to disagree.
All 4 of them.
Wait. I want to hear it. Rob, go.
I have to disagree because it's not so simple. You're talking about an isolated area, not so isolated where we're talking about geographically. They have water, they're all of that. But we're talking about it's conditioning. We're not saying that each president had to play the role of being diplomatic, but also showing strength, and that's really tough when you are the image of brute strength and strength in the world's history, other than like the old school British. But like I think that's a very tough role to play, and it's easy to say that all the other presidents before that were shit.
Well,
on that subject.
I don't think it's easy. I think it's pretty much the truth, and I think that if you want to make it more true, I think that Truman's really the asshole here because he didn't finish the job because he was afraid of the Soviet Union. And yeah, I think that Truman did a great disservice to humanity by either not following through on a complete American and South Korean conquest of the Korean Peninsula.
Or
renegotiating this. I think that he overestimated the brute strength of the Soviet Empire at that point. And I think that
it's best to do that.
Why do you think that is, Rob?
Yeah, why do you think that is?
Because when you're dealing with other powers, this is.
But we knew what they had and didn't have. We gave them all the armaments. They were poor and starving.
Yeah, but you don't underestimate. You still don't underestimate. You still don't, because if you do, then who's the sucker? I mean, what if they actually do something? Then you're the sucker. I think it would be easy to call it out and say, in those little moments, saying, "Oh, bullshit, that was their fault." Truman did a lot. You're not supposed to get everything right. He's human. Every president that has ever taken office is human. They're bound to make mistakes. I just don't believe we should give something as historically heavy as North Korea, as far as the diplomatic process, to a president who's only been in office, 2 years? You're saying in 2 years he's handled something that took 40 years.
It's only been a year and a half
to de-escalate. Okay, right. It feels like 5. But I'm saying we're taking one president saying he disliked the whole thing.
But at the same time, we're talking about a very different diplomatic strategy, and I'm not trying to give him credit, but I am saying, and I will stand by this, that there is a tendency for people who have been in politics to go with the very classical version of diplomacy, and Samantha Powers talked about this when even when it was just a potential moment, when a potential meeting between Kim Jong-un and Donald Trump was proposed right after the Olympics. Every single Democrat strategist, every talking head from the party, Samantha Powers, Susan Rice, literally everybody from the Obama administration and the Bush administration, even, those Republicans, who are not really conservatives, neocons, all came out and said, if you agree to meet with Kim Jong-un within weeks, it is a disaster. It takes months. You have to prepare everything. You have to make sure that, everything from the bows being positioned right. Like, it's all bullshit. Diplomacy is made up to be this huge, massive thing.
No.
If they wink wrong, then that's when you walk out and you have to come back, and it's all bullshit.
No, I disagree.
No,
I
it's
disagree.
Listen, I can understand the disagreement, and I see where some of these things are pointed, but Samantha Powers came out and she was like, "Oh, well, it takes months, and we have to organize, and we have to learn, and blah blah blah." And it's like, we know you know all the things that you need to know. At this point, if you don't know what you need to have in front of you to go to a meeting with North Korea, I don't understand why. It's nonsense. Trump was ready. He felt ready. Whether he is or not, we'll find out. But he was like, let's just do it. Who cares? Let's just have a meeting. And literally every Politico, just their heads just exploded and it went off. And that's where people look at that and they're like, you didn't want to get anything done.
No. All right. Okay. I agree, and I'm not. I agree in a point of yes, the government can drag itself, and there's a lot of red tape, and there's a lot of bureaucracy, and things take really, really long, and they look for too many angles, and sometimes you need to make the decision right then and there. But I believe that's a very small percentage that actually justifies that. Like, I think when it comes to something as heavy as North Korea, I think there is no way that even if the story is true, that he is the reason why things are moving this fast, I'm still skeptic about it actually working out because it's so fast.
Oh, I agree. I don't think we should trust the North Koreans. I don't think we should. I think that we should just do what we can and do it. But here's what makes me believe this, or at least put more faith in this than I normally would. Trump is completely movable on every issue, on every situation. At any given moment, he can flip his opinion, and it can be one way or the other. And I think that if it is possible that the North Koreans understand this and that they can get a much more favorable deal if they just, I don't know, our nuclear facility is now a sinkhole because it all collapsed and we don't have that anymore. Please invest in us. I think that's when it comes to Trump, you can make him a conservative, a Democrat, a socialist, a free market capitalist at any given point in time, depending on who you are and at what point in time of the day you're sitting and talking to him. Because at any given time, he can tell you that he's for, universal health care, and then the next day he's against it, and then, he doesn't want Obamacare. And he's so movable. I think that it's a weakness in a lot of ways, but
then it's false movement. Then I would bet that it's false movement. I would bet that we're all saying, "Oh, he fixed it," or "We're going fast." But right. I think it's all talk.
No, I think
it's all talk.
I don't think that he personally had anything to do with this, but I can see where the North Koreans would find an opportunity in somebody who is so movable and so flexible, who just wants to get an accomplishment notch under their belt, who's like, let's just make the best deal that we possibly can and let's get over this situation and move forward and do something different. He's the only one who doesn't actually care about anything. And
if that is true, that is very scary. If you are right, that is very, very scary.
And I don't know that I am completely, but I feel like I probably am. Donald Trump on any policy issue, 100% of the time, has no opinion. He's movable depending on the crowd that he's with. You can get him to agree to every single one of Bernie Sanders' talking points. If Bernie Sanders is the one meeting with him that day and they have a press conference afterwards, it's impossible to peg him. And this is why people are so frustrated with him, because he has no core. There's no philosophical core that drives him. All he wants, if there is a core, all he wants is to say, I did some stuff.
Do you think, this is interesting. Do you think Donald Trump, in some weird way, because he is very controversial, obviously, and we've learned that for a while now. We've known that for a long time.
Sure.
Do you think, with all these things that you're saying, that Donald Trump is some sort of people pleaser?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, first of all, how do you even go into politics without wanting to be? Even if you want to be a dominant
he seems
personality,
more so than Barack Obama, than
I don't think that's true. I think that he's first of all, if you want to compare the two from 2016, you've got the comparison of Donald Trump, who as a people pleaser, and Hillary Clinton, who's a people pleaser. Pick the biggest open asshole that you can fill your own opinion with. There's no choosing. But Donald Trump will always. He sat down with Dianne Feinstein to talk about, gun restrictions, and he came out of there and he was like, "Oh man, bump stocks are really bad." And the next day he was like, "Oh, the NRA says they're not, so I don't know." And it's just like.
I think I don't think he has the sophistication or coy to hide it.
Exactly. I just think that if you can get Donald Trump to sign a piece of paper that day then you're solid. If Dianne Feinstein had gone into that meeting and was like, this is what the Democrat caucus has proposed, these are the Republicans that we can get to vote for it, it'll be a simple majority vote, which you sign on to this law, I think he would fucking do it. I think that he would sign anything.
That's so bad. That's so
if he could get a win out of it. And you know,
That's so bad.
But people sit here and they're like, Donald Trump's a racist. I'm like, only when he's talking to racists. Donald Trump's a misogynist. Only when he's talking to misogynists. He is not
But don't you?
I would think he's on his own a misogynist, though. I would agree with that talk. I don't think when he talks to it, I think that's just default setting.
No, you don't have to pay $130,000 to shut a hooker up if you're a misogynist. Okay, he's terrible with women. I think we get that.
So okay, but so you
even I don't have to pay that much to fuck bitches.
Oh my god. Okay.
It's usually just a bottle of rosé.
Okay.
Little Drake, a little rosé.
Yes. The softest one in the game gets him every time.
So, oh my god. Okay, so before we go off the rails, so you guys seem to be agreeing on this whole idea that Donald Trump doesn't have a core and maybe not even a backbone. So, and obviously, you know, everyone talks about him politically as this bull in a china shop. But if he's this person, and I'm going to pose this question to both of you, if he's this person who seems easily manipulated into certain viewpoints and platforms and positions in order to just get stuff done, don't you think that the Democrats or the Republicans have a strategic advantage here?
Wait, no. Do you mean, do the Democrats have a strategic advantage?
I mean, Dianne Feinstein, you know.
Republicans have the advantage going on.
Okay, Rob, no. Why?
Because he's very unpredictable. So I think you would have to learn his language and then be able to be able to converse and get him on board and actually I do agree, like, you have to have everything set up and ready to go and then explain, hey, you are going to look great. Like, this is going to be so set up for you. You're going to T-ball this for you. I think that's what you have to achieve to get him to go forward. It just pains me to say that. Why
is that so difficult? To learn his language and to get him into those positions where he can be used to advance platforms.
I would assume, for me, I'm just looking at it from my perspective, that would be that would not be as motivating. That would be very like.
Why do you need your president to be motivating?
Exactly. Well, if I was at that moment, I'd be like, all right, I have kids. Why do I have to work for one and coddle and figure out this whole thing with? Like, why can't I have someone who wants to work with me and has a view, and we don't have to agree on everything, but they have their own set standards of views on things.
Okay.
Like, that's the thing I think is probably tough, is they're used to a certain thing, and he's like some flubber thing where they're like, I don't know what to.
That was such a good movie.
Put burgers in it. Put burgers in it. Buy him a Happy Meal. I don't know. I think that's tough. I don't think that we've ever had that situation where we have to go in and be like, bring a Coke and a cheeseburger and you'll have a conversation.
He does like Coke, doesn't he?
Yeah, he's a Coke president.
Yeah, okay.
It's not our first one, though.
So Johnny, what do you think? I mean, true. Well, okay. That's what we're talking about. Got it. Took me a minute. John, what do you think?
Oh, I was talking about the soda.
Rob, you and I both were. Like, I'm on your page. I didn't realize I had to flip it. I had to flip a page. I was a little behind.
I have to flip it like 3 times in this conversation.
So, oh God. Okay, Johnny. Yeah. What do you think? What's your opinion on this? I mean, do you think that he can be manipulated into any platform, and do you think that either party has a strategic advantage over him, or what? Like,
here's the thing. I think, okay, I'm going to separate those because, one, the GOP is purging itself of bullshit and nonsense right now in the primary phase of midterms. And so I know this sounds very serious, but
it did. It did.
But
you sound like a prophet.
But this is
I'm so
listen,
impressed because you're drunk right now. I'm really impressed.
I know. Just give me a second. So, but I've said this before. The GOP purging itself of Paul Ryan and knocking off all of these retirees. People are freaking out about this now. They're not going to be freaking out about this come election time. This is all literally, we just like entered a stretch of primary seasons. And so all of these debates are kind of going to be hashed out, and they'll be old news by the time midterm elections happen. The GOP is being very smart about this. And the Democrats have, up until this point, looked either establishment or disaster. And there's no in between. There's no, oh my God, what are they doing? It's either you're running with the candidate that you had before, or you're picking an insurgent that is the most extreme version of some sort of, like social justice warrior babble bullshit that you can possibly figure. And it's like Democrats are over here in HuffPo praying to God that they don't even believe in, that Texas is going to flip blue in the Senate race in February. And it's like,
yeah, okay. Keep going.
Why are you guys are expending all of this energy on, thoughts and prayers and yoga signs so early in this race that you're not going to have it for the midterms. And the GOP is just quietly just like siphoning off all of the excess fat. They're literally chopping down all of the bullshit so that once primary season is over and they're ready to race through summer into fall midterms, they just have people ready to go. And there's probably not going to be any controversy for GOP candidates going into midterm congressional elections. But there will be
on that?
Yes, but there will be yes, because I've said this multiple times, and Sean knows, I've said this many times. The GOP is trying to be as controversial as possible early on so that all of this is burned away and it's nothing but lean stream into election season. It's a shockingly brilliant strategy coming from a party that snatches defeat from victory every single time. I don't know a time in political history, let alone American political history, when a party had the majority and did not act like it. Nancy Pelosi ran Congress from 2006 until 2016. That was amazing. I've never seen someone go from having the gavel, in her hand to manipulating it with her mind from down in her seat.
She's
like
a Jedi.
She is a Jedi. No, that's some Sith master shit. Okay, that was not the light side of the Force. Nancy Pelosi is Darth Vader. But
oh jeez.
She's more machine than man. Or woman. But she definitely, like, she ran Congress as the minority leader. She ran Congress for almost 4 years under GOP leadership, and it was incredibly embarrassing for, my favorite guy is Boehner, and I love that chain smoking motherfucker. He's my original orange politician. I love that fool.
Oh my gosh.
But none of his politics, but I like a man who will light up a Marlboro while talking to, like, the Hill. Like, that's great. But Nancy Pelosi ran Congress. The Democrat caucus dictated what was and was not going to be sent to Barack Obama's desk as far as budgets, as far as anything that came from the Senate. Harry Reid dominated the Senate until 2014, and Nancy Pelosi reinforced his reign as the minority leader in the House of Representatives. And the GOP has acted like that ever since. Even with full domination of both chambers, they still sit there and they cower, and it's been really ridiculous. Even if you're not a fan of the Republicans, it's been embarrassing for them. But I think that this midterm election is the moment where Trump is really, like, he's leading a cutting of fat, and the GOP is for the first time looking like they're trying to win something. And it's interesting.
Rob, do you have any responses to that?
I would say I would have to do more research. I don't know. That was a very elaborate theory. I would have to
News
do
is
some
Johnny's
research and see if I could poke some holes in it later. But right now, I can't.
Wait, I want to know. You wanted to quote him on something. What was it that you asked him to be quoted on?
Oh, for the fall election.
No controversy.
You know, I kind of gotta.
Oh, is that it?
We're talking.
Oh, that's
politicians
not
here.
going to happen. That's not going to happen. I'm talking about what I meant was that going into the fall elections, that the GOP is going to be as streamlined as possible, focusing entirely on elections where the Democrats are going to be fumbling to either raise their profile or whatever, but they're going to be a bigger mess post-primary going into general
The
election.
Republicans are.
The Democrats are.
Oh.
The Democrats are a fucking mess right now. Are you kidding me? Like, they're having a horrible time. And I don't even
It's
like
an identity
them.
thing, I believe.
Well, because nobody knows what it means to be a Democrat. You're not
Well, yeah,
sure if
'cause-
you're supposed to be a
yeah.
male, now a female, or if you can be a female still, but maybe transition to a male. Like, it's the Democrats have put themselves in a whole lot of different corners, and they're not really sure which one's going to win.
I think that kills me. That kills me
Why?
that was said. Not saying that you said something wrong.
Okay.
I think that just saying to win, then what?
Well, you got to win to do anything. But then
Yeah,
again, we
but-
saw Democrats win and not do very much.
What do you? Oh, Rob, I hear that frustrated sigh. I know that one. What are you thinking?
I'm thinking that it's very easy to say people didn't do anything.
To save.
Well, I said the
I
same thing
think-
about Republicans.
I think that. Well, no, I'm saying the system right now is both sides are doing as much as we could be doing. Because
not?
we
Are not doing as much, or are?
yeah, not doing as much as we
Okay.
could be doing. But you know me, Sean. I'm a hippie socialist. Like, so it's it just pains me to think that we're all trying to do this together, but we are all hurting ourselves.
How do you-
We're deliberately,
How do you think we're hurting ourselves? If you could, I want you to expand on that.
Well, no, there's multiple things. I mean, we're talking about the another divide in equality as far as money. There are becoming a lot more new rich people, and they're becoming a lot more poor people, and the in between is becoming very, very small. And I
Isn't
think the
poverty
promise
shrinking?
is becoming bigger. It's not the way we were. It's how it's defined, and it's not really shrinking. It's really just.
Isn't global poverty shrinking?
Well, global we can't judge America the discrepancy of money in America based on global and the global poverty divide, because that's another issue. That's another way we
Isn't
have
American
we have
poverty shrinking?
no.
Why?
What? Is it not? I just saw that it was.
But that's very blanketed. Like we're talking about different areas of the country. Minimum wage is frighteningly low. Like it's.
I wish it was lower.
Let him finish.
What?
Let him finish.
What?
Rob, keep going. Leave that alone. Leave that alone right now. Finish your
What
point.
I'm saying is we're dealing with a lot of things that we can fix, and we could put into action, but we're just arguing about nothing, and we're not really doing our citizens good by just squabbling.
No, I agree with that. I think that it's interesting. I'm looking at this UC Davis Center for Poverty Research chart, and from 2000 to 2010, it's a shocking increase, and under Obama, and not to say that Obama had anything to do with this, because there are so many more factors than just a president. it kind of wavered. It did a sharp dive and then a sharp incline and then a sharp dive. Again, like I think one thing that I wish Republicans would stop with is blaming both Barack Obama and George Bush for the economy that was handed to them from Bush Clinton. I think it was set up to fail. I think that policy-wise, Clinton and Bush both fucked.
HW.
Yes.
Okay.
Both completely fucked this system up. And I think that people give Bush a lot of credit for
W or HW?
W.
I want to make
Sorry,
sure.
43. Sorry,
Yeah,
43.
there you go.
It's just funny that
we're millennials. When we
change of
talk about
hands.
Bush, we know. I feel like we know what we mean, but there are people who have lived longer and voted longer. So
Yeah, I mean,
it's
well,
true.
some of our listeners are, in the upper age brackets. I just want to clarify.
Linda, I see you, and if you say something racist on the next post, I swear to God, I will call you out.
Keep going.
I was
keep going.
not happy with her, Sean.
I know, none of us were. Keep going.
Racist ass old bitch with flowers for a profile picture.
Wow.
I'll fill you in later, Rob.
Okay.
Don't fill Robin later. He's gonna be on that comment thread like 2 weeks later, like screaming. I was yelling.
Yeah, we were all yelling.
Okay.
Keep going.
Sorry, I feel like people forget that this is a divergent tangent, but it's one that happens all the time, and I hate it. That Clinton put the subprime mortgage lending policies into place in 1997, and those were the ones that completely fucked us up when it came to the dot-com bust, and then eventually in the housing crisis that hit in 2007 and destroyed us in 2008, that Obama inherited. There is a long policy list, and I also hate when people talk about deregulation of banking because that is not what happened under 43. Barack Obama was definitely dealt a hard hand, and it's clear to see just in this one snippet of the poverty rate that there's a lot economically going against Barack Obama at the time. And I wish that I wish that members of the Republican Party would give him credit for not fucking things up and ending this on an incredible note, because poverty dropped sharply at his end. There's a long run of difficult times, but poverty was dropping dramatically faster than it had before.
Yeah.
Actually faster than the mid 60s, it looks like. And I wish that people would...
The recovery was better than the depression, the recovery we had. But I mean, it's multiple factors.
Well, there are multiple factors, and the recovery took a long time, but it did happen. And I wish that he would get more credit for at least overseeing that. I think we all give the president, whoever it is, too much credit for the economy and too much blame.
True.
But
he's the quarterback.
he is the quarterback, and a lot of what he says, or she, in the future, I'm sure there will be a she.
He or she.
Whatever the president says definitely affects markets, and I think that people don't. I don't think people underestimate that. I think that people take that, but they spread it too far.
I think Trump's tweets are very good evidence of that.
Yeah, and there's nothing wrong with having that platform, and that impact is what it is. I mean, when historians look back on this in 100 years, they're going to be like, well, this is what happens. No one cares. They're not going to care about the way that we felt about the economy at the time. They're just going to care about what the economy looked like,
right,
according to stats.
Sure.
But the stats do show that at the end of Barack Obama's term, things were definitely getting better as far as poverty was concerned. So I just pulled that up, and I know that's a divergent tangent, but...
No, that's good.
But it did help. But when it comes to, the political parties, I still go back to the fact that the Republicans have been crazy for the past 2 months for a reason. There's a reason that Paul Ryan, P90X leader, was so willing to admit that he's retiring from Congress now instead of
later.
announcing it later. they're getting all of the fat out now. Republicans have never looked like they had a plan, and they look like they have a plan right now. I don't know what the plan. I don't know what it is.
I don't know if it's true.
There's definitely some weird ones in the race.
I think they're doubling down. I think they're trimming, but I think they're doubling down.
I don't think they're doubling down. I think what they're doing is they're literally cutting fat left and right. And I think that people are unused to Republicans cutting fat because they've never cut anything, including the deficits they ran on.
True.
So I think that it's really weird for people to look at Republicans trying to be dynamic.
I think they're a party that for a long time has looked like a dinosaur.
Well, yeah.
I also would say that. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
No, go ahead,
go
Rob.
ahead,
Go
Rob.
ahead.
No, go ahead.
No, please go ahead. Seriously.
Yeah, I didn't have anything. I was drinking.
Oh, I thought I was interrupted. Oh. I would say to counter that, and not trying to just be a contrarian. I would say that yeah, it might look like they're getting their stuff together, but also it might be. I would say some people are probably pulling out. I mean, it is. I feel like it would be strategic. It would be foolish of me to say it wasn't. It wouldn't be strategic as far as pulling out and stopping things. But I think it is also getting into a morality thing. I think the way we're going, we're making huge bets, and if you want to stick around and be congratulated or blamed for it, that's up to you now. Like it's like a ride or die moment, and I feel like that's going to get tougher and tougher for people. And I think it is also strategic, where they're like, oh, well, you should leave now instead of later. But I think it is becoming a ride or die thing.
You know, I think that a lot of people, MSNBC for one, but a lot of people in media would really hope that all of this means a Trump implosion. And I think that that's much more of a leftist or even anti-Trump Republican sentiment, that they don't want him to fail, but they don't want Trump to be successful. And it's not to say that that's where you're coming from, but I think that when it comes to the media, that is where the media is coming from, is that they want something to cover, and an implosion is the best news. News ratings were never higher than when Bill Clinton was impeached, and they all voted for him. I think that Paul Ryan, probably for the first time in his political career, was told that he was a useless sack of shit. And I'm sure that came from the White House. I'm sure that they said, you can take your P90X and fuck off. And we don't want you to lead the House. You don't have any core values. You don't operate with anything. You haven't gotten a single piece of conservative legislation into law when it comes to billing. I mean, there's nothing more frustrating, and I am a registered Republican. I typically vote Libertarian or for the less known candidate, because I don't necessarily like my party outside of California, and I certainly don't like my party inside of California sometimes.
That limits the play. That limits the field.
It does. Yeah. And philosophically, I am very much more of a libertarian. I wish that Republicans also were, because it would make my life a lot easier.
I feel like it makes more sense, for the core of what they believe in, and not now, but traditionally, that they would veer.
Traditionally, Republicans were social progressives, and
not traditionally,
well, I mean, the Republican Party was much more of the progressive party for the majority of the American history.
Yes.
And that even held true kind of into the 70s when it came to economic systems. And I really wish that that Republicans would stop. Here's the thing, and we've said this before, in conversation. If Republicans stopped giving a fuck about social issues, there is no debate. Because when the Democratic Party talks about policy issues, it's nonsense. They come out of fucking nowhere. They have great ideas that come from some sector of academia, but nothing actually can play out in American political federalist structure. Republicans.
I disagree.
Well, you'll get your chance. Republicans.
No, I'm not trying to talk now.
No, it's fine. You could be aggressive. Republicans. If Republicans just said, don't be racist, don't hate gays, balance the budget, and stop spending so much. If that was literally their platform, they would be the boring party, but they would probably be the winning party all the time. If they were like, hey, you're hating on gays, don't do that. That's none of our business. Fuck off. If they were constantly just the don't do it, stop spending the money, they would probably win more often than not, and they would have a philosophical core. The problem is that's not very sexy and it's not a very exciting platform. So what they do is they do the George Bush model, 43, which is where
Thank you for clarifying.
You do love the gays, but you run on like an anti-gay, like we're gonna pass an amendment. And I love that Democrats, and this is funny because Democrats were like, oh my God, he hates the gays, and he was running around, and I'm like, he literally had like half his staff was gay when he was governor of Texas. Like, he doesn't care. And they were like, no, I swear to God, he's the most anti-gay, like he's a racist and blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, okay, if that's what you want to believe, it's literally just a campaign slogan. He doesn't care. And Democrats took it to the bank, and their voters took it to the bank, and they swore on it, and they were like, he's whatever. And he never allowed a single anti-gay or racist bill to come before him, ever. And it's just, if Republicans ran on honesty, I think they would do a lot better. And if they held some sort of fiscal integrity, that would be fucking amazing.
Rob, you disagreed with Johnny a bit ago. Do you remember what it was about?
I think I was disagreeing with. I was going to say that why is it that Democrats get knocked for being academias?
Because academia is like 95% liberal.
True, but I'm saying, like, why is that wrong? Why is that bad?
Can academia support itself without federal aid?
I mean, that's tough to answer. I would say off the top,
Financially,
no.
So
But
if people aren't willing to invest in academia without using the government to prop it up, is academia wrong according to the market? That's
very loaded, I would say.
It is very loaded, but at the same time, like, that is the question that we're facing right now in society, is that, like, it comes with the Jordan Peterson thing and
Sure,
and the whole campus, the campus debates and everything
though.
like that. But the thing is that if everybody has, I think, the right assumption that academic institutions are predominantly leftist, which isn't necessarily a bad thing. It's just, if they can support themselves by being leftist, then that's perfectly fine. But they can't do that individually. So,
but that's tough to say, though.
But how does their can they?
Well, I mean,
Why,
also it depends. I mean, look at Harvard. Look at all these private schools. They're funded by the people that go to them.
Mm-hmm.
Except that Harvard takes
state
an enormous amount of federal funding for
Harvard?
research.
Yes, of course, because they're a school. Yes.
But do you think?
and
yet there are a lot of
sorry,
conservatives that have come out of Harvard. Ted Cruz,
True.
Ben Shapiro. I mean, a lot
That's
of very
that's
top.
why it's loaded.
Right, but if these institutions could sustain themselves by their own branding, do you think they would be as leftist or as left as they are?
I would say yes. I would say the liberal gets a label.
Mm-hmm.
I would say that.
So does conservative.
If we're saying, well, yeah, I'm not saying that the conservatives don't. I'm saying that we're picking these sides in a way and saying, okay, well, a liberal, if you go to a university or you talk to a professor, they're probably going to be liberal. And what does that mean? Are they open to free thought? Are they what do they believe in? Most of the things that Democrats believe in? Are we saying that? Are we saying, like, are they going to be believing in universal health care and all that stuff? Like, I'd have to argue that isn't it a little bad that we're saying these things? You're saying that, like I don't believe that every conservative is racist.
Well, that's a fair point.
I don't believe. Yeah. I just think that it's too multifaceted. It's like.
But I think it started out with.
Do you believe in small government or big government?
If liberal institutions could exist without federal support in a marketplace, don't you think that would add more credibility to their positioning or their argument or their perspective? Because if you can't support yourself without assistance long term, especially from the federal government as an institution, especially an educational institution, I get what you're saying, and I do agree in a lot of ways. I just think that when it comes to academia, it's looked at as like kind of in conservative circles, the economic freeloader. They will always talk about leftist views, but they can't support themselves without student aid.
True, and that's what I was trying to get.
Well, were we trying to? Can you elaborate
ahead,
on that, Rob?
No. I don't want to cut you off. I want you to finish. Sorry.
Oh no, that was it.
No. Was there more?
No, there wasn't. I was literally
go ahead,
paused.
Rob, go
I paused for you.
Oh no. I was saying that I would agree, and that's the thing I'm kind of like looking at is like the perspectives, just like, okay, how can we get like, I don't want to sound like a naive asshole, but how can we get past the whole labeling? Because technically, if we're going to label things, then I'm a liberal, and is the belief in academia and facts and research label you as a liberal?
Well, that's kind of a loaded question on its own, because there are different. It's not that there are different facts, but facts have like a core basis, and liberal institutions and academia don't own them, and it kind of it fluctuates many different ways, because you're kind of seeing this with the backlash on academic settings for conservative voices. Is there a reason that conservative voices should be barred or protested at academic settings as opposed to liberal voices? I mean, Facebook came out and is accused of ranking news organizations today based off of their conservative or liberal bent. And liberals are getting a higher rating and conservatives are being zucked, as they would say. But
rated according to who, though? Who's rating them?
Facebook.
Okay. The company itself.
Yes.
Okay. I wanted to clarify there.
On their
So you're saying that, okay,
if
Facebook is an institution, Facebook is a liberal institution dictating what mass people from all different beliefs should see.
I don't think Facebook is a liberal institution. I think Facebook's leadership and their employee base is definitely liberal. I don't think anybody can deny that.
I think Zuckerberg said it himself during the hearing.
Yeah, I don't think Facebook itself is liberal. I think that what they're doing is it seems as though there's some bias going into their purge of fake news. And that is a separate topic. I didn't mean to bring that up as
No, that's I would say it's really hard to judge something without connecting yourself to it. I don't know the specifics on
it
the
is
Facebook thing.
It is kind of inhuman. I mean, when you're asking people to make judgment calls off of what is fake news, how often are they saying? How often does an employee click something as fake news that they don't like? If that's what the ranking system looks like, if it's just. The Daily Caller, if this person's like, oh, fuck the Daily Caller, click down, what does that look like?
Right. Would you, so, coming from a market perspective, Johnny, and property rights and things like that, when it comes to companies, wouldn't that be Facebook's right?
Sure. It's intellectually dishonest for Facebook to do this, just as a blanket statement. I think it's intellectually dishonest, but I think it's Facebook's right to do this. I think that Facebook can do whatever the fuck it wants with its entire website. And they do. They don't ask us. We just follow along, and that's fine. I think people make mega corporations and big corporations out to be a lot more than they are. If Mark Zuckerberg wants to take Facebook in any direction that he wants at all, go for it. He's got majority shares. Do it.
I would have to agree with you, but I think that's our doing of humanizing. We've gotten so good at marketing and branding that we've allowed our companies to be viewed as human extensions.
Well, it's not that they're human. It's that they are a collection of humans, and it is impossible to take. It's not that a corporate entity has its own perspective or its own will. There are people pulling the mechanisms. The massive robot does not move itself. There is a driver. The driver moves the robot, and the robot will go wherever the robot gains the most energy, if you want to take it that way. But Facebook is being driven by individuals. Facebook itself is not an individual, but Facebook is being driven by individuals seeking out other individuals, and that's the market. If Mark Zuckerberg feels that Facebook is going to be more successful doing this, then that's him making the call. That's not Facebook as an entity, an omnipotent thing. That's the board, and that's the text, and that's Mark, and that's everybody moving Facebook in 1,000 different ways, creating a direction. And it's just the end result.
Rob, what do you...
Go ahead. I was just saying I would have to agree, and but I was also saying that like we companies do create that so that people can have that feeling towards it. Like you feel something when you think of Airbnb, or you feel something when you think of Facebook, or you feel something when you think of Apple. I think that those are getting stronger now, and we are getting way too good at how we can tap into those emotional points in a human to make them feel certain ways towards our entities.
Well, and they are designing that too, right? They are designing Facebook to give you the news that you want. They're designing Amazon absolutely will design everything again around what it thinks you want to buy.
Well, yeah, as they claim, the most customer-centric company in the world.
Yeah, well, that still goes to Nordstrom's. Okay, shout out to Nordstrom's for, by the way. And this is a random, and this isn't as bougie as it sounds, okay? Because I was at work today, and this is a side rant, and I'm sorry, but Nordstrom's deserves a shout out because
they do.
I love them.
They are a fabulous company, but only for the fact that, okay, so I had a customer at work today that left their wallet, and I'm not gonna lie, I went through the wallet because I was looking for contact information. Well, this is policy. We're supposed to find like a card. It's a bank card that we're supposed to find and call the bank and let them know. The problem is that every time we call a bank, they freak out and they shut down and they're like, "Did you steal it?" And it's like, "No, I just found it, and I want you to contact the person or email them. I know you have their fucking email. Just send them a notification." They're like, "We can't do that. It's out of our reach." And I'm like, "Okay." But this customer had a Nordstrom's membership card, and I called Nordstrom's. Nice. Yeah, I was like, "Fuck whatever bank they had." I called Nordstrom's. I was like, "This is the customer. This is the card number. Can you email them or something and just let her know that I have her wallet? It's going to be in our safe. It's going to be fine." And they called her.
Oh, wow.
They didn't email her. The first person was like, "Well, normally we would send like a mail, like a letter," and like, no. Nordstrom's customer service, top of the fucking line, because they called her.
I need to re-up on my Nordstrom
card. She
card.
called me literally 10 minutes later and was like, "My card company just called and let me know that you have my wallet." And I was like, "Yep, it's in a safe. It's totally secure. Come and get it." And that never happens with banks. That never happens with banks. They freak out. They go to like the nth degree. They like call the secret service that they have. It never happens. But Nordstrom, as soon as I saw that card, I knew that
Yeah,
was the direction. They deserve a shout out because
Absolutely.
that is some
it's tough.
shit.
It's tough, and as a business person myself, like I've experienced this with my bank, and where I've had to pay multiple contractors the same amount of money because they work the same amount of hours, and my bank has frozen my account more times than I would like to admit. It's really
we
frustrating.
can talk. It's called Chase, and let me tell you, you can tell them.
Damn it, Johnny!
No, fuck these assholes. Fuck these assholes. Okay, I signed up with Washington Mutual. I didn't sign up for this shit. I called them. Do you not remember the last time I was in Seattle? I said, hey, I'm going to Seattle. I'm doing some weird things because I'm moving a friend's stuff up. So he's transferring money. It's going to be labeled for U-Haul, rental, and whatever. I told them, I was like, this is what I'm doing. It looks weird because it's a weird shift of money. Just make a note on my account. And they were like, what are you doing? What are you doing? What are you doing? And I was like, I'm literally telling you, I'm going to be in Seattle, but I'm moving a front stuff up. It's going to be Chase. Fuck Chase. Okay. I love you guys sometimes because you make things convenient, but you guys are the biggest dick bags. And I wish you would separate and I could have Washington Mutual back because they were human beings and you guys are a bunch of fucktards.
Banks are notoriously impersonal and very hard to figure out.
That's not true. I signed up with Washington Mutual, and WAMU was the fucking shit, which is probably why they got bought out and failed. God damn. I'd never had a single problem with them, ever. They were glorious.
I can attest to that. Yeah, I can definitely attest to
WAMU. I still have WAMU checks that
that. I miss WAMU. The only thing that's left in WAMU is WAMU Theater up in Seattle. Shout out. Fucking,
Yep.
I miss them so much. Yeah.
Fuck Chase.
Yeah, no, that was a rough work day because you didn't get that money to be able to settle all that stuff until late, and then you showed up at my apartment at 2:00 in the morning.
Poor as fuck because Chase was like, your account no longer exists.
and
I was like, I literally had I could have covered everything. If you hadn't transferred anything, I could have covered everything. And Chase was like, no, we froze everything. There were so many red flags. And I was like, I called you.
Yeah, you showed up to my apartment at 2 a.m. on a weekday, and I had work in the morning, and we had to move all that shit out of the U-Haul into my apartment so I could go to bed and get to work. That was rough. That
And I
was the best.
still had to call Chase the next morning. God
Jeez.
damn.
Yeah, they're interesting.
They're stupid. Stupid. If there's one argument against outsourcing, it's Chase. Jesus Christ. I call every time. I'm like, no.
Banking's up for a disruption anyway. Banking's going to be disrupted.
I need it. Thanks for bringing that 2015 marketing term back. That I hate. That. I don't hate that word because it's a great word. I hate that word because marketers took that word and fucking burned it in a fire. And
Oh yeah, a
it's
change
in
is
my
a disruption.
fucking
That's what. Yeah.
Anyway,
What did we even talk about?
disrupting
I'm
milk.
done with this
You're like,
bottle.
really?
What did we talk about?
we talked about a lot of shit. You'll hear it. Anyway, so before we go off the rails even more, I want to thank everyone for listening to Boozed and Bothered this week. Check us out on our website at boozedandbothered.com. You can find us on iTunes, Google Play, Spotify, iHeartRadio, Stitcher, YouTube. Hopefully tune in soon if they respond to me. Some of these podcast distribution companies take a little bit of a while. I get it. There's a lot going on. Just tune in. Just let me know. I'm just saying, let me know. Anyway, you can also find us on social media at facebook.com/boozedandbothered. You can find us on Instagram at instagram.com/boozedandbothered. And you can also find us on Twitter at boozedandbothered, not and, just the N. And my name is Sean, a.k.a. Daddy. I am your producer and co-host.
My name is Jonathan. Do you have this written down somewhere? Like, how do you remember all the bullshit?
Because I've been doing this for 21 fucking episodes.
Well, so have I. I don't know what the fuck is going on.
You're also drunk.
It's called Brute. Okay, and first of all, this is a fresh... Two fresh grapefruits, Sean.
Don't get defensive. I'm not mad at you. We're boozed and bothered. We're supposed to be at least tipsy by the end of the podcast. It's
the
totally
way that
fun.
we are.
Yeah,
Can I
get
eat
it.
this?
Yeah, eat the fucking pulp. God, just be quiet for a minute so I can finish the outro.
Rob, thanks for joining us.
Yeah, this is Johnny. Johnny,
no.
Shut up. I can introduce myself. Or introduce myself.
introduce.
My name is Jonathan.
And he is.
And that's the name I pay taxes with.
He was your host. Rob, this was, I think, an outstanding time. I'm sorry to keep you up so late. We're changing our schedule so that
Oh, no problem.
What's that? Rob?
Oh, I said no
He
problem.
said
Cool,
no
cool.
problem.
Did you just? This fool was talking with pulp in his mouth and it
Yes.
fell out of his mouth, and
I think I have my name now because you guys have your names. I think I have my name.
Yeah.
Can I go
Dude.
by Rose Rob?
You can. Hell yeah, you can go by Rose Rob. Rose Rob. We got Rose Rob here joining us from Seattle. Rose Rob. I hope that you join us for many more episodes in the future.
Well, I don't know where that pulp went, but
My dog will get it, I'm sure.
where is he?
He's at my parents' house. Don't worry about it. So, Rose Rob, I hope that you will join us many more times in the future. This was an absolutely wonderful time. You know, Rob, I love talking to you. I love having you. And I love
Can
having
you
on the
let
podcast.
Rob talk?
Rob talk.
Jesus. All he wanted to do was say his name and goodbye. And you're over here reintroducing
It's
the
cool,
outro.
You are so drunk.
I like it. I like it.
You're so drunk right now.
Well, yes, because you wouldn't have any of this brute.
Yo, bro, calm down. We got 45 seconds before we go over 2 hours. So I'm
Rob.
gonna cut. I'll finish this shit
Rob,
off.
the
Okay.
floor is yours.
Be fucking cool. Rob, do you have anything you want to say to finish off?
Oh no, Rose Rob, stay rosy.
Yeah, stay rosy. Goddamn right. That's lit. I'm fine with that. Thank you everyone for listening to Booze and Bothered. This has been episode 21. Keep a lookout for us. We'll release.
We're calling it B-Yeezy.
Yeah. We release a podcast every week on Thursday or Friday. We're still trying to figure that out. Thank you guys so much. We'll see you again next week.